students. In the last class, you have studied the introduction about the Lamarckism and some of the salient features of Lamarckism. In this class, you are going to study about the principles of Lamarckism, means whatever the concept that he explained in the theory of Lamarckism, that will be in this video. Okay, so the principles of Lamarckism mainly have 4 laws or 4 principles, which mainly includes internal urge of an organism, environmental new needs, use and disuse theory. Right. So the main factor that he was trying to explain in the Lamarckism was, see, according to Lamarck, he believes that the whatever the new species will develop from the pre-existing one, that is actually because of use and disuse theory and acquired inheritance of characters, okay, or inheritance of acquired character. So that was he was trying to explain in the Lamarckism. Means ಒಂದು ಸ್ಪೀಷೀಸ್ ಹೇಗೆ ನ್ಯೂ ಸ್ಪೀಷೀಸ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಯಿತು, ಯಾವ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ಫ್ಲೂಯೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರೋದು ನ್ಯೂ ಸ್ಪೀಷೀಸ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಲೆಮಾರ್ಕಿಸಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವನು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ ದಟ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್, ಇಂಟರ್ನಲ್ ಅರ್ಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಅನ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್. Internal urge of organism. So animals and plants have ability to grow and increase in size to attain the maximum size. Not only body but also every part of an organism increase its volume. You know that in animals or plants, so whenever they have an ability to grow or increase their body size or structure of any body parts, right? And it's a very common thing in plants and animals. So according to Lemma, increase in size is due to internal urge and inherent ability of an animal itself. It is due to desire, nothing but internal urge. So what is actual internal urge means? So whenever the animal develops a new structure or new modification happens in the animals, it actually because of its internal urge or its strong desire. Okay, so when the animal have a desire to develop a new structure, that is nothing but internal urge. Okay. Environment and new needs. According to Lamarck, environment plays important role in evolution. Animals cooperate with environment for their survival. Whenever there is a change in the environment, the animals as a response develop new structure, which is nothing but new need. So first of all, what is this principle actually? What is internal urge? What is environment new needs? Lamarck ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಅನಿಮಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎವಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಹೇಗಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ, ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಎವಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಹೇಗಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ, ಒಂದು ಅನಿಮಲಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಎನ್ವಿರಾನ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ, ಸೊ ಇನ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಟು ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ ನ್ಯೂ ಎನ್ವಿರಾನ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಚೇಂಜ್, the change is nothing but new need. Okay, the environmental change is nothing but new need. So in order to adjust to the environment or new condition or to survive in that animal, they develop or the body will stimulate or the body will develop a new urge to develop a new structure. Okay, that is what he was trying to explain in these 2 principles. ಒಂದು ಅನಿಮಲ್ ಎನ್ವಿರಾನ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆದಾಗ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ತಕ್ಕ ಹಾಗೆ ಎನ್ವಿರಾನ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ, ಆ ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋದನ್ನ ಏನಂತೀವಿ, ನ್ಯೂ ನೀಡ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಏನು ನ್ಯೂ ನೀಡ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಒಂದು ಹೊಸ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಇರೋ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಡಿಸಪಿಯರ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ internal urge and environment and new needs. Use and disuse theory. So this is the 3rd principle of Lamarckism, or you could say 3rd law of Lamarckism, and it is very important. So according to use and disuse theory, you could divide this use and disuse theory into 2 parts. One is use theory and another one disuse theory. Overall, what is use and disuse theory? So according to Lamarck, he believes that when an organism is put to greater and constant use, the particular organ develops well. At the same time, when an organism is not used for when an organ is not used for long time, it gets reduced, and in due course it degenerates and disappears completely from the organism. Simply, you could say that any structure, if the organism develops because of the new need in the environment, So if the structure is continuously used by the animal, then we say it as a use theory. That structure will continuous, if the animal continuously use that structure become more strong and stable. At the same time, if any structure is less used by the animal continuously, then what happens, at one point the structure will disappears or degenerates after few generation. Okay, this is what we call it as use and disuse theory. And he gave many examples for use and disuse theory. Like for example, let's take use theory. Let's take an example. He gave an example of very famously, which is giraffe neck. So according to Lamarck, he says that the ancestors of modern giraffes, okay, the ancestors of modern giraffes, they were actually had short neck, but because of the scarcity of food in the ground level, they started to find the food from the trees, means they started to eat leaves from the trees. So because of that reason, what happened, because of stretching of their neck, short neck continuously for many generations, what happened, so because of stretching of long neck, what happened, the muscles and the neck bone, they started to extend. So that's the reason why the giraffe, they have long neck. So according to the Lamarck, in his use theory, what he says, when any organ is put to greater and constant use, that particular organ develops well. So he believes that why the giraffes have long neck, because they use their neck muscles and bones continuously and constantly. That was result in long neck of giraffe. And along with it, he also gave many examples other than this. Like for example, um, biceps of blacksmith. You know that, say, blacksmiths, they use their hand. So because of that reason, what happened, the muscles in their shoulders, right, their hands, they increase their volume, I mean it increased their volume. So that's why the blacksmith, they usually have they are more muscular hands, right? So that is actually again explains the use theory. When any structure continuously used and constantly used, it increases its volume, right? And he gave example of blacksmith. Other than this, he also gave an example of wading birds. Wading birds means, for example, like egrets, herons, all these birds usually you see in the water, right? They find their food in the water media. So these birds usually, they have long neck and leg structure. Why? Because they usually continually stretching of their leg and the neck when they were trying to find the food in the water. That will result in a long neck and leg structure. And again, it again proves the use theory. Okay, why? Because these wading birds, they continuously used their neck and the leg structure. So that's why the constant use of these portion will result in extending or increasing their size. That he what he says in the use theory. Okay, so another example that he gave for disuse theory. So you know that what is disuse theory. According to Lamarck, he says that when an organ is not used for the long time, it gets reduced, and it in due course it degenerates and disappears completely, right? He says that, so when the structure is not continuously used, at one point the structure will degenerate or disappears, and he called it as a disuse theory. And he gave an example of kiwi bird. So it's an example of flightless bird. So you know that flightless birds, not only kiwi bird, any flightless birds. So this kiwi bird, they don't have any wing structure, because see, these birds, they were actually winged forms, but when they started to get more food in the ground level, they stopped to use their wings. So because of that reason, their wings started to become vestigial. So that's why in the modern kiwi bird, they are actually called as a flightless birds, because they according to this use theory, the wing portions of the this bird was actually useless for them, because they were actually getting sufficient amount of food in the ground. So they stopped to use the wing. Finally, now they are flightless birds. That he says in the try to explain in the disuse theory. ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡದೇ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ವಿಂಗು ಡಿಸಪಿಯರ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಡಿಸ್ಯೂಸ್ ಥಿಯರಿ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ನ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಆ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಡಿಜನರೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವ್ದು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಕಿವಿ ಬರ್ಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. Similarly, vestigial organs. So vestigial organs, like you know that we humans have several vestigial organs. Many animals have vestigial, like nictitating membrane, human tail, or if you take in whales, they have hind limbs bones. They have bone, but they don't have any hind limb, right? And then what you call human tail. Okay, there are several structures, wisdom teeth, there are several structures are there which are actually considered as vestigial organs. Why they are actually called as vestigial organs? Because all these organs are not used by the human beings, so not even human beings, in many animals. So because of that reason, what happened, all these structures, they at one point they started to degenerate. Okay, this so he gave vestigial organs as an example for disuse theory. So overall, in his use and disuse theory, he says that when any structure develops, if a new structure will develops, the structure will be if it continuously used, that will become more stable and more strong, and it will increase its size. At the same time, if the structure is not well used by the animal, the structure will degenerate and at one point it disappears. Okay, and this is use and disuse theory. And last principle, which is inheritance of acquired characters. So the characters developed by the animals during their lifetime in response to the environment changes are called acquired character. So what is inheritance of acquired character? Acquired characters means adopted characters. Whatever the new structure which have developed by the animal because of the environment need, we call it as acquired character or adopted character, because this is the structure which is actually developed by the animal because of the environmental change. Okay, so according to the lemma, these acquired characters are transmitted to the offspring. This is called inheritance of acquired characters. So according to lemma, the acquired characters are transmitted to the offspring. This is called inheritance of acquired character. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಕ್ವೈರ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದು ಅನಿಮಲಲ್ಲಿ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೋ ಅದು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಜನ್ರೇಷನ್ಗೂ ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಆಯ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಕ್ವೈರ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಈಗೇನು ಡಿಸ್ಯೂಸ್ ಥಿಯರಿ ಅಥವಾ ಯೂಸ್ ಥಿಯರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಇದೆ, ಆ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಜನ್ರೇಷನ್ಗೂ ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟ್ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂದರೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಕ್ವೈರ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಲೆಮಾರ್ಕಿಸಮ್ ಇಸ್ ಫೇಮಸ್ಲಿ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ನೋನ್ ಆಸ್ ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಕ್ವೈರ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್. ಸೊ ಲೆಮಾರ್ಕಿಸಮ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಒಂದು ಅನಿಮಲ್ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಯಿತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಒಂದದು ಯೂಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಡಿಸ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ಬೇಸಿಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಆ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಜನ್ರೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅವನ ಲೆಮಾರ್ಕಿಸಮಲ್ಲಿ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಆ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಜನ್ರೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಹೋಯಿತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಆ ಅನಿಮಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಆ ನ್ಯೂ ಸ್ಪೀಶೀಸ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಲೆಮಾರ್ಕಿಸಮಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. Like for example, if you take long neck of giraffe, so giraffe, they have long neck because their ancestor they were actually had short neck because of use theory, constant use of the neck muscles and bones. Modern giraffes have long neck, and these characters was acquired character, and it is inherited for many generations. That's why modern giraffes have long neck. Okay, so that is the example for inheritance of acquired character. And Lamarckism is also called as inheritance of acquired character. ಎರಡು ನೇಮಿಂದನೂ ಕರೀತಾರೆ, ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಕ್ವೈರ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಂತಲೂ ಕರೀತಾರೆ, ಲೆಮಾರ್ಕಿಸಮ್ ಅಂತಲೂ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಒಂದು ಅನಿಮಲಲ್ಲಿ ನ್ಯೂ ಸ್ಪೀಶೀಸ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಇಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ಸನ್ನು ಅದು ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಲೆಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಬಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದಟ್ ಟ್ರೂ? ಎಷ್ಟು ಸರಿ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಎಷ್ಟು ತಪ್ಪಿರ್ಬೋದು, ವಿ ಡೋಂಟ್ ನೋ. But actually this theory was considered as a wrong theory. Why this theory was wrong? Why? Many scientists, they gave their own examples to disprove or to criticize Lamarckism, because the best experiment which was actually conducted by which was called as August Weismann, a scientist called as August Weismann. He actually to check whether the Lamarckism is true or not. So Lamarckism ಹೌದು ಇದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಸರಿ ಇದೆ ಅವನ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಏನು ಲೆಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟೆಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಅಕ್ವೈರ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಜನರೇಷನ್ ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದು ಅನಿಮಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದೊಂದು ಹೊಸ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಯಿತು ಅಥವಾ ವೇರಿಯೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂತು ಅಂದರೆ ಆ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಜನರೇಷನ್ ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಅವನ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಹೇಳಿರ್ತಾನೆ ಲೆಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ. ಇದು ಹೌದು ಅಲ್ವೋ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅಗಸ್ಟ್ ವೇಸ್ಮನ್ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಬೈ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಮೈಸ್. ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ he took a bunch of mice in his laboratory and he surgically removed the tail part of all these mice. ಸೊ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಸರ್ಜಿಕಲಿ ಮೈಸ್ನ ಟೇಲ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ನ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಹಿ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ದೀಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟ್ ರೈಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಸೆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ದ ಟೇಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಮೆನಿ ಜನರೇಷನ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ನಿಯರ್ಲಿ ಅರೌಂಡ್ 20 generations. ಸೊ ಅಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಲೆಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಏನು ಹೇಳಬೇಕು, if the any structure, if it is not continuously used, the structure will be degenerates and disappears at one point, right? Disuse theory ಪ್ರಕಾರ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾನೆ, ವೆದರ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಫಿಷಿಯಲಿ ಆರ್ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲಿ, ಬಟ್ ಅಗಸ್ಟ್ ವೈಸ್ಮನ್ he separated tail portion from the mice, right? After many generation ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು, ನಮಗೆ ಟೇಲ್ಲೆಸ್ ಮೈಸ್ ಸಿಗಬೇಕು ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಡಿಸ್ಯೂಸ್ ಥಿಯರಿ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಆ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅನಿಮಲ್ಲು, ಅದ್ರ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು, ಟೇಲ್ಲೆಸ್ ಮೈಸ್ ಸಿಗಬೇಕು. ಬಟ್ ಇವನ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ 22nd generation ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, ಅಗೇನ್ ಟೇಲ್ ಮೈಸ್ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅಗಸ್ಟ್ ವೇಸ್ಮನ್, ಬೈ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ mice, Weismann concluded that changes in the individual during its lifetime did not affect the offspring. ಸೊ ಅನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಏನೋ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಡಿಸಪಿಯರ್ ಆಗಲಿ, ಅದರ ಲೈಫ್ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅದು ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಪ್ರಿಂಗಿಗೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಥರ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಹಿ ಕನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡೆಡ್ ದಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ದ ಜರ್ಮ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ದ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಟು ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಜನರೇಷನ್. ಸೊ ಜರ್ಮ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಥಿಯರಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟು, ಬಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಲೆಮಾರ್ಕಿಸಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಜರ್ಮ್ ಸೆಲ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಆವಾಗ ಇನ್ನೂ ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಷ್ಟು ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಆಗಿ. ಬಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಅಗಸ್ಟ್ ವೇಸ್ಮನ್ನು, ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಒಂದು ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ಲು ಅದರ ಲೈಫ್ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆದ್ರೂ ಅದು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಜನ್ರೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಂದರೆ ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಕ್ವೈರ್ಡ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾವಾಗ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಅದು ಗೆಮೆಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಆದರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸು ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಆಗೋಲ್ಲ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಟೈಲ್ ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ಸುಮಾರು ಜನ್ರೇಷನ್ ತನಕ ಟೈಲ್ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಹೋದ, ಆಗ 20 ಜನರೇಷನ್ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ 21ನೇ ಜನರೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಟೇಲ್ಲೆಸ್ ಮೈಸ್ ಬರಬೇಕಿತ್ತು. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಕ್ವೈರ್ಡ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಯಾವುದೇ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೋ ಡಿಸ್ಯೂಸ್ ಥಿಯರಿ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಯೂಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದರೆ ಅದೇ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಇನ್ಹೆರಿಟ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಬಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹಂಗೆ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗಾಗದೇ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳಿರ್ತಾನೆ ಅಗಸ್ಟ್ ವೇಸ್ಮನ್ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, ಜರ್ಮ್ ಸೆಲ್ಲಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಗ್ಯಾಮೆಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಆ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಪ್ರಿಂಗ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಹೊರತು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟ್ರಲ್ಲೂ ಒಂದು ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಅದು ಸ್ಪ್ರಿಂಗ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತಿಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದ ಲೆಮಾರ್ಕಿಸಮನ್ನು ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆರಿಮೆಂಟನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. Not only this example, many scientists they have given other examples, like for example if you take eye structure. So according to use theory, when any structure is continuously used, it increases its volume, it becomes more functional and it becomes well developed, right? But if you take your eye structure, so your eye is never increases its size. Even after your birth, up to end of your life, the size of eye, it will never changes, but it always it performs its function. Not only this, even heart pumps every minute, every second, right? So according to use theory, what should be actually should have to have here, say the heart size should be increased, right? Because it continuously used, but it not actually happens, right? The heart size, of course, as you grow the size will increases, but as it functions the size of your heart should be more larger, right? But it not happens. So this is again disproves the use and disuse theory, right? So and you can give many examples for this. Okay, so this is all about Lamarckism. So by this we could say that this Lamarckism is actually it's not, we could say they don't have any much scientific evidences, but is now only have historical significance. Lamarckism ಅನ್ನು ಆಕ್ಚುಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ತರ ಎವಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಎವಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಬಟ್ ಹಿಸ್ಟೋರಿಕಲಿ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸಮ್ ಸಿಗ್ನಿಫಿಕೆನ್ಸ್. ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಥಿಯರಿ. Okay, so this theory was not actually considered, means because it is not much more scientific. But next to this, the theory which is called as a Darwinism, which have more evidence, scientific evidence towards evolution, and that concept you will be going to study in the next class. Okay, so this is all about Lamarckism. Thank you.